All right, all I have to do is say good evening to Chip Kohser, and he'll do the rest. I'm just going to sit back and ask a few questions, but like the rest of you, going to listen about a local product that goes way back, founded in 1945 by his incredible grandfather, Russ. We're going to talk about the journey, the man that really has escalated this brand. We'll talk about Wade in just a moment as well. And then we're going to get into why this food is for those who are simply dog lovers, love their dog like family, and just want to treat them right by giving them something that is delicious and definitely nutritious. And more importantly, it's dog food with a local flavor that, of course, is Pittsburgh. Chip, it's great to have you here. This is so wonderful. I'm so excited to be here with you tonight. How amazing is it that all of these years later, with that name, your grandfather, you're still selling this product? And if there's some people that want to put that product in their store, they would be more than happy to help you. It must just be so satisfying. Good evening.
It is. It's great. I mean, I'm the third generation making a living selling for a brand that my grandfather founded. And a lot of the things that we do and continue to do, the fact that we only sell to independent retailers and not box stores, that's something that we put our stamp on and said, that's who we want to be. We want our brand and our business to be about that sense of community. And even with the customers, the end users, from the pet owner to the hunting dog customer to the dog breeder, we have a relationship with those customers every day. I've been into their kennels. I've been on hunts with them. We want to support those people that are all about giving back to their community and enjoying their dogs.
Still family owned, just a different family. Talk about Wade, first, last name, who he is, and why he's been such an inspiration. Go ahead.
The big thing, Wade Graskowitz, he bought the business in 2012. Unfortunately, my dad had to sell the business back in 2003, and in between 2003 and 2012, we, like many small businesses, we got bought by an investment company. And even though Heffron Tillotson and Mike Light that, they don't do a darn good bit for that whole sense of community that I was just talking about. And it was a rough few years, and Wade bought the business back in 2012, and I can tell you right now, Joy Dog Food would not have survived and would not be what we are today if it wasn't for Wade and his family putting their stamp on it and allowing me to continue in the business and help them grow the business together. So we're definitely appreciative of that.
Well, listen, it is a bright future. This is an incredible story, but it is a new story with new chapters being added every day. It's the same quality to pet owners that you've known and loved, but it's always evolving and changing, naturally preserved, fixed formulas, 100% American made, never a recall. And I'm talking hunting dogs, which I absolutely love. Men and women who love the outdoors, coonhounds, beagles, upland bird dogs, retrievers, terriers, big game dogs, foxhounds. Man, that just must be a joy to bring hunter, dog, and Joy Dog Food together. And listen, thousands of these men and women, they wouldn't try any other brand. So there's got to be something behind that label.
No, and we like to say we formulate, and I'll be honest, in today's world with pet food the way it is, there's a lot of marketing in that bag and not necessarily nutrition. A lot of pet food companies have recognized that our pets have become our children, and they're formulating the feed to justify the fact that they can charge us a whole heck of a lot of money, and we're be happy to pay for it just because they're our children. But what we strive to do is give you a nutritious product that's going to meet all the nutritional needs of your dogs. But whether it's a hunting dog or a pet or whatever, they're going to live a nice, full life. We got the glucosamine and chondroitin in there for their joints. Fixed formulas, it's going to be the same every time you buy it. We've got pumpkin meal in there for sensitive stomachs, and pumpkin also is an excellent calcium source. Your flaxseed and your fish meal for your just rattling down. Whenever you listen to a doctor on KDKA tell you what you need to do for your own self,
right?
We need to do for ourselves what we're doing for our dogs.
You talked about the joints. You talked about pumpkin, which is great for the digestive system. And I spent 10 years with Dr. Michael Hutchinson, my all-time hero. And I guarantee you're speaking that language right there. Let me just put it in perspective. You're the professional. I'm the consumer. When we grew up, it was meatloaf and mashed potatoes. It worked. Nobody was eating something different at the table, and they weren't trying some of those so-called foo-foo things that people are enjoying today. Dogs like dog food, and that's what this is with all the ingredients that they need. And it's a local product, too. I think sometimes they've just put too much Ivy League into everything. This is the basic food. And look, How long have you all been around? And it's one of the most recognized labels anywhere, other than maybe one or two others across the country. When you see Joy Dog Food, you know exactly what that brand signifies. So your history speaks for itself. 1945, and you're growing here in 2022. What's that tell you, right?
No, exactly. I mean, we would not be successful if the product was not what we say it was. There's a whole lot of products that have come and gone since then. And to be honest, I'm pretty sure that we're probably the second oldest brand in the country. And before that, people didn't have dog food. The first part of our life, we had to convince people to buy something called dog food because they were used to table scraps or cornbread or whatever. So we've come a long way in the fact that at first we were trying to get customers to just buy dog food, and now we've been able to specialize in making sure we're meeting those nutritional needs of those dogs so they're able to have a healthy, long life, cancer-free as much as possible, to make sure that they can be a part of our family as long as we can.
We're going to talk about some of the formula and some of the things and what you're doing and how everybody's getting involved, even show dogs, which I think I love watching the Westminster Dog Show, never miss it. This is another incredible thing that you're doing. What's the best way for people to either want to get the product or be able to sell the product? What's the best
The best thing is to either go to our website, which is www.joypetfood.com, or call our 800 number. It's 800-245-4125. You can catch us on Joy Dog Food, on Facebook, on Instagram. Some of the younger people involved in the marketing department are even doing some of these things called TikToks. I haven't quite figured that one out yet, but we're on TikTok and I believe Snapchat too. I'm not sure how to do that one yet either.
I can figure that out for you. Anyway, we're going to come back. Chip Kohser is here. We have just begun with one of the best brands ever. This is right up there, folks, with just about every other iconic Pittsburgh brand out there. Joy Dog Food. Great to have him here tonight. More of Pittsburgh Works. Moments away. KDKA. All right, Chip Kohser is here. We're talking Joy Dog Food, pet food. Incredible. Now, let's just make the record straight here. Cat foods is something you do, but predominantly it's dog food, right?
Primarily, yes. We do have cat food that we offer to our customers, but again, we really cherish and relish. We're really into the dog world. For whatever reason, I want not the one that made the decision, but I've never seen a guy run rabbits with a cat. I've never seen a Westminster Dog Show with cats.
Right.
So there aren't as many cats with jobs out there as there are dogs with jobs. And we love the cats, but where we really focus is on those dogs. And again, pet owners can benefit from that same nutrition, but where we like to put our stamp is on those athletes, if you will. And there just aren't too many cat athletes out there that I'm aware of.
Well, they are athletes, these dogs, and I've seen some cats who do some pretty cool things too. But I must tell you, what I appreciate about people who hunt their dogs, they take such good care of them like an athlete. They're all lean, they're fast, and man, they just know how to maneuver out there in the great outdoors. Do you ever sometimes, and these are dogs eating Joy Dog Food, do you, and you've been around it for so long, since you were a kid, do you even to this day in your mid-40s go, I can't believe the athleticism of these dogs?
It's unbelievable. I mean, I can see there's Garmin tracking collars now. A lot of the hunters will use these tracking collars that are GPS collars.
Right.
They'll put on these dogs. And there's guys that are running coyote or coon or birch, their dogs are averaging 10 mile an hour for 20, 30 miles at a time. It really separates what they're capable of doing and what we're able to do. Or I have a bird dog myself, and that dog, we just moved in January and we bought a house with a pool in it. We got a 40-foot pool. He jumps in that pool. He'll swim 75 lengths of that pool without taking a break. I get to the other side of the deep end and I'm starting to breathe heavy.
So I have figured it out at 65. I need to have 1 cup of Joy Dog Food every day. If I did that, I'd be able to swim a pool.
Well, and I think there's something to that. Like I give my bird dog 1 8-ounce cup a day. If I only ate 1 8-ounce cup if I had that 3-ounce steak like the doctor told me I should have instead of a 24-ounce steak, I probably wouldn't have as much to carry around as I do, and I'd probably be in a heck of a lot better shape too.
All right, talk about the ingredients. Talk about the formula, the success, the consistency, and why Joy Dog Food has withstood the test of time.
Well, the big thing is we use a fixed formula. There's a lot of companies out there that they use what's called least cost formulation. If the price of ingredients change, their formulas change. We are going to have the same formula every time, no matter what. And that provides that consistency to your dog that we were just talking about. The other thing, all of our proteins are 97% digestible. What that does for us is your dogs do not have to eat nearly as much as they might other brands. So that, one, they don't have as much waste, if you will, and two, it's easier on your budget because the dogs don't have to eat as much. All of our minerals are chelated minerals. What that allows
Now, what does that mean?
A chelated mineral allows the dog to store those minerals until they need them. If they're not a chelated mineral, the dog will urinate out. They'll use what they need now, and then they'll urinate out what they can't use right now, so they're not able to store them. One of the other that pumpkin meal, it's huge. It aids in digestion for breeding dogs. It provides a balance of calcium and phosphorus, so they can get through the whelping process and lactation process. We use the flaxseed in the fish meal for your omega-3s. That's your good cholesterol versus your bad cholesterol, but it's also great for a healthy skin and coat. It's good for their eyes. It's good for their joints and their tendons as well. And we're using glucosamine and chondroitin in every one of our formulas too. And anybody out there that's had a bad back, hopefully they know what glucosamine and chondroitin is, but it's a great anti-inflammatory to help with joint health, to make sure that dog is going to be able to bounce around at a ripe old age and still get on and off the couch and everything else. And all in all, I mean, we take pride in the fact, like I said before, we're formulating for the nutritional needs of the dogs, and our marketing department, we tell them what to say instead of the other way around.
Listen, this is just me, a Pittsburgher through and through. Support local, and that's who they are. And I must tell you, it's become so confusing, and I'm not a pet owner right now, but there are so many brands out there that the average consumer, and this is where Dr. Mike and I would always talk about this stuff, and he was just brilliant talking about nutrition. I think you should always gravitate, this is me, towards local. You know, I can still hear my dad at the dinner table when the dog was trying to get something off of my plate, and usually I slid something to that dog. He'd say, look, he'd look at the dog and say, your dog food is over there. One of the last things my dad would say when we were out, grab a bag of Joy dog food. It's who we are. It's our makeup. It's like Pittsburghers, like Permane Brothers. I mean, it's Iron City Beer. I mean, that's who Joy dog food is, right?
100%. I mean, we were founded in 1945, believe it or not, in Washington at first. And then somewhere before my time, by 1950, we were moved up to Oakdale, Pennsylvania.
Great.
We were there until 2003. And you talk about Iron City and the Steelers and steel.
Right.
I guarantee you, we were the only dog food plant in the country that had the Steelworkers Union negotiating a contract to make Joy dog food.
There you go.
That was definitely a unique experience for me. Whenever I first got out of college, was negotiating with the Steelworkers with a bunch of dog food workers.
Listen, you and I met a long time ago. I know a lot of the same people you do. I've had affiliations with many of them. We're all Pittsburghers. We believe in jobs first, jobs last, creating jobs, giving people downtime to celebrate with family and feline and dogs and really kind of gather as a family. This is a Norman Rockwell thing we're talking about. These animals, these dogs, I know in my life, they are an extension of your family, but you want to think local, you want to do local, you want to keep them happy, you want to keep them healthy, and I want to know firsthand where the product's coming from, and if I got an issue, I can track you down to get an answer.
100%. I guarantee you, if you called into the office today, you get a hold of the owner. We're that type of company. That doesn't happen.
No.
You know, you were talking about the number of brands in the dog food world. There's a million brands, but the sad reality is 90% of the market share is controlled by 4 companies. The largest dog food company in the world is M&M Mars. The second largest is Nestle Purina. Those are not local companies that
you're not getting.
You're not getting the owner of M&M Mars on the phone,
right?
But you can get Wade Graskowitz, the owner of Joy Dog Food. You can get Chip Kohser, who cover is the national sales manager. We'll have that conversation. If you can't find our product, I'll pick up the phone and try to help talk to you and find a dealer in your area so you can get it.
You know, the thing that amazes me too is I feel bad for the consumer and pet owner today, because they love their pets. I mean, I know at Christmas we hung a stocking for our pet. That pet was in the bed every night. And sadly, my dad, who was against getting that pet, in the end, when that pet died, he was the one that bought the monument and took that dog to its final resting place. Mm-hmm. Dogs are everything. Pets are everything. They truly are the unconditional love that we all hope to have. So you would want to go local. You would want to know who you're dealing with. But it's so sad because you get bombarded with so many things that you're thinking, did I do the right thing? Did this is the right thing? Maybe I should try this. Dog's not feeling good. Maybe I should do this. I'm telling you, you need to go local, and Joy Dog Food is as local as it gets. And if you have got any questions, you can call the company. You can Google, find out about who they are, their reputation, and you've never, ever had a recall.
Never had a recall. I mean, in today's world is extremely rare. We take our quality very seriously. The fact that all of our ingredients are 100% American. And all of our ingredients, including our packaging, are sourced in America. And that's a big deal.
Joy Dog Food. If they don't have it, ask for it, get it. And if you're someone out there who would like to sell it and really support local, please get a hold of Chip and this incredible company. When we come back, we're going to talk about how they are feeding those dogs who serve and protect. This is fascinating stuff. And you know how much I'm a big believer in canines. We're going to get to that and much more. Chip Kohser is here. Joy Dog Food. Rob Pratte, Tuesday night. Pittsburgh Works, KDKA. Chip Kohser is here. So I get a couple of questions before we get back to the business. What's up with this coyote population? Listen, I am so enamored by coyotes, and it's Dr. Mike's fault because years ago, Dr. Hutchinson said they brought him in, thinning out the deer herd, all that. I'm running into these coyotes all the time.
And I'm not the expert on that, but I could tell you, as somebody that loves to spend the time in the woods, when I was a kid, we had pheasant and grouse everywhere. We don't have any pheasant grouse at all anymore.
You think that's because of the coyote population?
I think some of that's coyotes. I also think some of it could be we have a lot more eagles and hawks than we did when I was a kid, too.
Yes.
And the other thing is we didn't really have turkey. Now you can't drive by a park in Allegheny County and not see a turkey.
We have a family of 12 lives right out here in the parking lot, so tell them good night when you're leaving.
Yeah, but the coyotes, they definitely are everywhere. And that's another thing that our guys run with dogs.
Yeah.
Yeah. And it's a great sport.
Yeah, and it's a very cleansing sport, too, because it's helping really turn things around.
When you come back to it, hunting with dogs, a lot of people, well, that's easy, it's cheating, whatever. But the reality is it allows a hunter to make a choice. There's states in the country where you're allowed to hunt bear with dogs. We're not allowed to do that in Pennsylvania. But if that dog trees that bear, that hunter can make a choice. Is that a sow with cubs? Is that a young? They can make a choice whether to use it. In fact, even in states where it's illegal, they still use the dogs to control the population, like California or whatever, because they can actually be good conservationists because it allows them to make a choice. In the state of Pennsylvania, we have a great bear population, but if a guy in the woods sees a bear, it's getting shot because he doesn't have time to make that choice. Is it a sow with cubs or not? But with running a dog or running a bear with dogs, you have that choice.
The wild boar, obviously, down south, Texas.
Terrible. They're tearing up the landscape.
Right, and that's where these dogs do incredible things. And I'm the guy home at night, YouTube at midnight, watching all this stuff because I find it fascinating, and I think these dogs are incredible. Joy Dog Foods, this is the clear choice of all of these dogs in this region. Coonhounds, beagles, upland bird dogs, retrievers, terriers, big game dogs, foxhounds. But we talked about show dogs, but I want to move on to some other incredible creatures.
Real quick, I want to talk to you a little bit on those hogs. One thing that a lot of people don't realize. So they run those hogs with hounds. Yes. But then they'll use a bulldog, a pit bull, or some form or fashion of a bulldog that will actually catch that hog. And then oftentimes they just tether that hog, and there's actually a meat market where they'll actually take those and they'll sell them, give them to a food bank or whatever.
Feed somebody.
Or they take them and they move them to an area where they're not quite so invasive, away from the farms and whatnot. But what's cool is that a lot of people, especially people who have a lot of pit bulls as pets nowadays, they actually are a dog that had a job at one point in time too.
And listen, I've done shows about why breeds were created, the ones that are here, the ones that are not. There was a great thought process going back hundreds and hundreds of years ago. Dogs still matter in our society today, especially these working dogs. Now, these canines. Dr. Mike actually brought a couple in one night. I found them fascinating. So I'm petting this one dog, and I told this officer, I said, this dog is so pleasant and so wonderful. And he went, well, you have to remember. I said, what's that? He said, he's not working tonight. Because they're just unbelievable creatures.
Yeah.
And I have friends in local sheriff's departments, and the big question is, hey, let's raise some money, let's get one. they have made an incredible difference in crime. I mean, in the city of Pittsburgh, Larry Maggi, who I've talked to for many years, he, of course, Pennsylvania State Police, Lou Gentile State Police, downtown Pittsburgh, of course, Larry Dunn, former commissioner, when we had commissioners in this region. Amen Corner, they do it every year. They have a monument on the north side. They have paid tribute to canine dogs. How wonderful is it to have this food associated with these canines?
Oh, it's great. Back to your point about the one that wasn't working that night. I was wearing a bite suit back in May, and I still have a little bit of bruise on my shoulder because he got me on the seam a little bit. Those Belgian Malinois, they've got a bite to them. But, no, it's just phenomenal because those dogs, you have basically three types. You have the tracking dogs, and some of them do all three. You have the ones that are drug-sniffing dogs, and then you have the attack dogs. I mean, in today's world where we see horrible things on television, you don't. If you have a well-trained dog, oftentimes the law enforcement officer never has to draw the gun or the taser because the dog's there to protect them. They're phenomenal dogs. I was in Michigan where they've recently legalized marijuana. They were able to go back and retrain those dogs to not hit on marijuana and only hit on hard drugs now that they're allowed to have marijuana in the car.
Do you know, I would have passed the 6th grade if I'd have had these same people training me back in the day.
Oh, my gosh.
I mean, I struggled early, Chip. I struggled early. Hey, it's just amazing. And here's something else. I've been talking about one of the things that we need to do is to fund police. Mm-hmm. We need to have 2 in a patrol car. We need to have them on the beat. But I know because of the tax base and what's happening, it's difficult. So if it wasn't for these canines, a lot of these officers would be out there every day by themselves.
100%. 100%. I mean, they do a phenomenal job. Even, we forget, too, about the war dogs. There's dogs that are over in Afghanistan or Iraq. I mean, not there now, but they were, that they're sniffing the IDs out to save our troops. It's just, it blows me away back to what you were saying about what a canine is able to do. They're able to do, their nose smells, I think it's 500,000 times more acutely than ours. I can't imagine what that would be like. But, I mean, if you just try to put your mind to it. And that's what allows them to do the phenomenal things they do is the fact that God created them to have a purpose like that, and they're great at it.
Listen, I've had so many friends. The guy who I have on, the outdoorsman, we call him the Great American Outdoorsman, Jeff Bertoni. We talk about all sorts of hunting. We talk about hunting dogs. But you are also doing something else, which is amazing. Stock dogs who work with cattle and sheep.
Yeah.
I was just watching a video about these dogs who can actually herd sheep and walk them back, and how on command, start, stop, they get into a crouch position and they will gather the sheep, bring the sheep together. Not 1 ounce of any type of violence, no bloodshed, no nothing. How is that possible? But why is it that your dog food is the clear choice? There's got to be something to this Joy dog food.
Again, as far as that goes, you're 100% right. It's phenomenal. I mean, one person to try to herd 4 sheep would be impossible, and one dog can herd 20 sheep and act like it's easy. But they're choosing us because, again, we're formulating those feeds for the nutritional needs of those dogs. Oftentimes, those dogs are a tool for them. They're not a pet. They're not a family member like it is. Some cases they are, but they want to make sure that they're taking care of that tool as much as they possibly can. Just the same as I do a vehicle or a chainsaw or whatever. They want it to be able to operate at its optimum performance, and they're using our product to do it because we get the job done.
And listen, I got to believe your company has done a lot to pay it forward, too, in helping these wonderful people do what they do, especially in law enforcement. Chip Kohser is here, Joy Dog Food. I surely hope we have him back again many times. We've got one more segment coming up, but tell the folks again, ask for it if they don't have it. But if you're a dealer or someone that could actually, a feed store that wants to sell your product, how do they go about getting in touch with you? And maybe there's some law enforcement officers out there listening tonight that would like to be a part of the Joy Dog Food phenomenon.
Contact us at our 800 number. It's 800-245-4125. Go to our website, which is joydogfood.com. You can also get us at Joy Dog Food on Facebook, Instagram, and as I said, all the other various means, TikTok and
Give me
Snapchat.
That toll-free number again.
1-800-245-4125. And if you're listening to this segment, make sure you mention it's from KDKA. You heard us on KDKA, and tell them that you need to talk to Chip, and they'll forward you on to me.
And to my friend Junior, who listens all the time, if he's listening right now, I'll be over for another bear story. We talk about his bear hunting days. I just sit there like a little kid in a candy store. I love hunting. I mean, I just think it's one of the greatest pastimes. And do you realize this? I may give you something. It accounts for about $5 billion annually to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. People who love the outdoors, people who hunt and fish.
Well, and what a lot of people don't realize is the ammunition and the equipment that we buy is what as hunters. That's what goes back into the game commissions and the national parks to help conserve our natural resources. The hunters annually in America contribute over $9 billion a year into conservation. They're the ones paying the tab for the backpacker or the four-wheeler or the horseman or whatever, because it's all tied to our ammunition and the other things that we're purchasing to hunt. So, I mean, we have a great model for conservation in our country. We're the only country in the world that still has as many wild game species as we do with a growing population. Poor Australia, they're struggling with all kinds of invasive species. Their native species are about to disappear. We have a very good model here in North America, and we need to continue to follow that and do it based on science and not emotions, because sometimes we let emotions get involved in everything.
I get it. We'll come back. Stay with us. Chip Kohser, Joy Dog Food, Rob Pratte, Tuesday night, KDKA. You know, I just realized, Chip Kohser, we could do the rest of the night. There's so much that we have in common, our love of the outdoors, our love of dogs. But here's where I want to pick up on Joy Dog Food in our final segment. All of the athletic stuff we've been talking about, all the hunting dogs, all the, the canines. This is just dog food for dogs like I've had. Just whether they be a Heinz 57 or a specific breed. This is pure, good, healthy dog food for dog owners.
What this is, it comes in a bag. It'd be like you and I listening to Tom Brady tell us how he can play until he's 45 years old and that weird diet that he has.
Right.
That would be you and I being able to go and grab that diet out of a bag so we could look like Tom Brady. What we're giving you is that scientifically based formula that you can pour a cup out of the bag into your dog's bowl and he can perform like Tom Brady.
What a great analogy. So I guess there's hope for you and I, right?
Yeah.
Hey, why do you think we just love dogs so much? It's that unconditional love.
I personally think, and I might be wrong, and science might tell me that I am wrong, but in my mind, I've never had another animal love me the way a dog does either.
No.
I mean, whether they truly do or not, they have a really good way of showing us that they care for us. And their whole purpose in their training and everything else is they want to please you.
Right.
Whereas every other animal, when you do their training, you're basing it on pleasing them with food or something else like that. But not that dog. That dog, if he's pleasing you, he's happy.
So we kind of talked about how this relates to the pet owner. We've talked about you being a dog owner. We've gone through the science of it, the nutrition, the history of it, the breeds that really thrive on it. But let's salute your dealers right now, the people that are out there who believe in you and are selling your product. Go ahead.
100%. Those are those independents I was telling you about. The feed store, the hardware store, the independent grocery store, independent convenience stores, all over. But it's America. My dealers make up America. I actually had one guy one time that he made his living selling worms to sporting. He did $17 million a year selling worms to fishing goods stores or sporting goods stores, and he sold dog food for me. That only happens in America.
Listen, you're talking to a guy that will go out of his way. If I see a sign that says bait sold here, live bait, I will get gasoline at that place and get a pop and a sandwich just because they sell live bait.
Oh, I hear you. I hear you, and that's that fabric of America. Those stores that we deal with, it's the mom and pops. It's second generation, third generations. It might be a brand new business. It might be a fifth generation business. Sandy Lake Mills up in Sandy Lake, PA. I think Adam is sixth generation up there. His family's been at it for 6 generations. That's why we strive to do what we do. And I know it would be a heck of a lot easier for some of you guys out there to go to your local box store and get it. But
your dog's worth it.
We're proud of the fact that we're going to keep that fabric of our sense of community with those independent retailers.
Listen, I'm 65. I was 12. My dad went to North Dakota pheasant hunting for a week. I can still remember the night that he came home. It was after dinner, and I made him tell me story after story and how the skies were just fluttered and full of pheasant that we were eating. And at that next dinner table, he was saying, look out for the buckshot. You know what I'm saying? And that was my dad. That was that moment. And about the incredible hunting dogs that they had, the bird dogs with them. And it was an experience that he never got to experience again. He used a shotgun that was his dad's, and that shotgun is still in the family. And really, these dogs, how many chapters have they written in these stories that I've enjoyed and you've enjoyed? Dogs really motivate. And when you think of family history, people looking at the old Polaroids or the old videotape and that family dog. Oh, look, there's so-and-so. Remember him? Wasn't he a great dog?
Yeah.
You know, that's why, and that's why Joy Dog Food, the name is so appropriate. I don't even know where it came up or where you got it at, but it brings joy. That animal brings you joy.
Yeah. We actually had the trademark. I don't know if we still have it or not, but jump for joy and put joy into your dog's life. We actually had that.
Who came up with that logo?
It actually would have been my grandfather's partner back in the 40s and 50s. His name was Ab Schiffler, and he's the one that came. And I believe the name, I think Ad had an old miniature dachshund that was named Joy, and I guess it was a pretty good family pet, and that's where the name came from.
Listen, I've had a few people that have owned dachshunds, and they say, look, they'll give you a run for your money, but it's worth every penny.
It cracks me up. My family, we've made a living off of dogs for 3 generations. I'm the first one in my family to have a dog other than a miniature dachshund. I just felt, I'm working with those hunting dogs all the time. I had to go get myself a Boykin Spaniel so I fit in with my customers instead of being the guy with the miniature dachshund like my family.
I can't tell you how much joy you brought me tonight. I'm so honored to have had some sort of connection to the family. This is long overdue, and I hope everybody who has a dog who's listening right now and a cat makes it the next meal of choice for their pet. But again, I'm going to give you the final minute. Anything you want to say to the audience? And again, thank you for your time tonight. No,
thanks for having me, Rob. No, I just appreciate the opportunity to let people know that we are still around. I was telling Rob earlier, I remember as a kid, our logo was in a infield tarp for the Pirates. I mean, we used to be a pretty big deal in this town, and circumstances took us away for a little bit, but we are back, and I'm looking forward to some opportunities and to get to meet some of you guys. Pick up the phone, give us a call. We'd love to have a conversation with you. Again, that's 1-800-245-4125, or go to Facebook or our website, joydogfood.com. Thank you guys very much for having me, and look forward to talking to you in the future.
Here's how we'll end it. A perfect night, Iron City pierogies, and my dog at my side eating Joy Dog Food.
There you go.
Thank you, Chip.
Thank you.